Vanilla is the flavor of birthday cake, soft ice cream, warm cookies, and the word plain. That gentle image hides one of the harshest stories in the food world. Behind this sweet smell sits a history of indigenous knowledge, colonial theft, slavery, brutal labor, market chaos, field theft, and child labor concerns. Vanilla tastes comforting. Its history is anything but comfortable. That is why the story matters. Most people think vanilla is ordinary because the flavor seems to be everywhere. But true bean-derived vanilla is one of the most labor-intensive crops on Earth, and the people closest to the plant have often carried the heaviest burden for the smallest reward. To understand the dark side of vanilla, you have to start long before European kitchens ever touched it. Vanilla began in Mesoamerica. Long before Spanish ships arrived, the Totonac people of the Gulf Coast region cultivated and revered the plant. Later, the Aztecs folded vanilla into tribute systems and luxury food culture, often using it with cacao. In other words, Europe did not discover an empty commodity. It inherited a crop from societies that already knew its value, its taste, and its place in ritual and trade. That first fact matters because vanilla's global story often gets told as if value appeared only after Europe noticed it. The truth is almost the opposite. Indigenous knowledge came first, and the rest of the world built profit on top of that foundation. Spanish colonization changed vanilla from a regional treasure into an imperial prize. Once Europeans developed a taste for it, they wanted more. But one stubborn biological fact slowed expansion for centuries. Outside vanilla's native environment, the orchid usually would not fruit naturally. You could move the plant. You could not easily make it produce beans. That gave Mexico an effective monopoly for a long time, because the living plant alone was not enough. The hidden relationship between flower, pollination, and place still had to work. Then the story takes a brutal turn. In 1841, on the island of Reunion, an enslaved boy named Edmond Albius showed how to hand-pollinate vanilla quickly and reliably. Botanists had struggled with the problem before him. Albius provided the practical method that changed the entire industry. With one small action, lifting the membrane inside the flower and pollinating by hand, vanilla could now be grown far beyond Mexico at meaningful scale. That one breakthrough helped build a global industry across French colonial territories like Reunion, Mauritius, the Comoros, and eventually Madagascar. And yet, the child who made that transformation possible did not meaningfully share in the wealth it created. That is not a side note. It is one of the clearest moral facts in vanilla's history. The modern industry owes a huge debt to an enslaved child whose role was often minimized in the official story. After hand pollination spread, vanilla moved through colonial networks as a cash crop. But the crop never became easy. Every flower still has to be pollinated by hand, and each flower opens for only a short window. Miss that window and you lose the chance. Hit it, and the work has only begun. After harvest, the beans are not even fully fragrant yet. They must be blanched, sweated, dried, sorted, and conditioned over months before they become the dark, aromatic pods people recognize. That long curing process demands patience, skill, and constant attention. This is why natural vanilla stays expensive. It is not expensive because of marketing alone. It is expensive because real production takes precision from flower to final bean. Madagascar became the dominant name in this trade. Depending on the year and how you measure exports, the island has often supplied roughly 70 to 80% of the world's natural vanilla exports. That dominance sounds powerful, but it does not bring stability. Vanilla is one of the most volatile agricultural markets anywhere. Cyclones can destroy crops. Speculators can hoard beans. Premature harvesting can wreck quality. And when prices spike, the bean becomes so valuable that fields turn into targets. In boom years, vanilla has been described as one of the world's most expensive agricultural products by weight, often second only to saffron among spices. When a crop becomes that valuable inside a very poor region, danger follows. Farmers may sleep outdoors to guard their vines. Children may help watch fields at night. Theft rises because green pods suddenly represent life-changing money. A field does not just hold food anymore. It holds a possible escape, and that makes violence, extortion, and fear far more likely. That is part of what gives vanilla its bloody history. The danger is not just colonial and old. It can be immediate and local. The market also twists incentives in cruel ways. When growers need cash, middlemen can gain power over them before curing is complete. Beans may be picked too early because the fear of theft beats the need for quality. That harms the product and the farmer's long-term future at the same time. When prices crash later, the farmer absorbs that pain too. Vanilla punishes the people closest to the plant in both directions. During price booms, they face insecurity, theft, and pressure. During price busts, they face falling income and very little cushion. Human rights researchers and labor groups have repeatedly raised concerns in vanilla-producing regions, especially in Madagascar. Reported problems have included child labor, hazardous night guarding, debt dependence, opaque supply chains, and a mismatch between what farmers earn and what global brands capture later. Not every farm fits the worst picture. Not every trader is abusive. Some certification efforts have helped in certain places. But the structure remains vulnerable because production is fragmented while bargaining power higher in the chain is concentrated. The hidden theft in vanilla is not only in the field. It happened at the level of knowledge too. Indigenous cultivation knowledge was appropriated without fair compensation. Plants were moved through colonial botanical networks. The skilled labor of enslaved or colonized people made the industry work, while official histories often elevated empire and commerce above the people who did the hardest part. Even Edmond Albius is sometimes treated like a footnote in stories that should place him at the center. That selective storytelling is a kind of theft all by itself. There is another twist that confuses many consumers. Most vanilla flavor in the world does not come from cured vanilla beans. It comes from vanillin made industrially, historically from lignin byproducts, petrochemical sources, and now some newer bio-based methods. That means the flavor people know as normal vanilla is often not the crop at all. Natural vanilla lives in a prestige niche. It is small in volume, huge in symbolic value, and deeply exposed to luxury pricing. That is why the average shopper can think vanilla is common while real vanilla farming remains fragile and expensive. The market around natural vanilla has long been open to manipulation and adulteration. Extracts can be stretched. Beans can be disguised in quality. Origin stories can be used more as marketing than real transparency. Farmers usually carry the agricultural risk. Processors, exporters, flavor houses, and brands often capture steadier margins. So even success in the field does not guarantee security at the bottom of the chain. Environmental questions matter too. Vanilla is not automatically a villain crop or a hero crop. Poorly managed expansion can damage biodiversity and land use. Well-managed agroforestry systems can support shade growth and ecological resilience better than some other forms of agricultural clearing. The outcome depends on practice, pressure, and governance. The same crop can sit inside either a more sustainable system or a more extractive one. One popular myth needs to be cleared away. Many people have heard that everyday vanilla flavor mostly comes from castoreum, a secretion linked to beavers. That story is memorable, but it distracts from the real issue. Castoreum has long been rare and commercially marginal compared with synthetic vanillin and true vanilla extract. The hidden story is not weird animal chemistry. It is labor, empire, and exploitation. That contrast is what makes vanilla such a powerful documentary subject. It is the flavor most associated with softness and innocence. Yet its path runs through indigenous innovation, colonial expansion, the ingenuity of an enslaved child, plantation labor, smallholder insecurity, field theft, child labor concerns, and a market where growers often carry the greatest risk. Vanilla smells warm because the final product hides the cold structure beneath it. When you taste real vanilla now, you are tasting months of curing, hundreds of tiny acts of labor, and centuries of unequal power packed into one familiar note. And once you know that, the flavor does not become less impressive. It becomes harder to treat as simple. If you want the next story where something famous looks invincible until one hidden weakness breaks the myth, watch the next video now.